Okay, so constantly this month, week, lifetime, I've been getting into arguments and or getting questions about bareback riding. Some people are totally against it, and some people are just, they won't listen to anything. Or they've ridden bareback their whole life. They, don't know any better. I'm not here to tell you something's wrong and something's right. I'm just here to give you the unknown facts about bareback riding. Now, I wish I had an actual horse here, but I've got something kind of close. I've got a sawhorse. A lot of people think that horses love bareback riding, and it's so much more comfortable for them because it's lighter. Well, honestly, you aren't taking a whole lot of weight off your horse if you're just riding it. That's not a whole lot of weight. It's not going to seem like a lot for your horse either, because you are most of the weight on that horse, unless you're a very small child. I doubt a lot of people are going to weigh less than 12 pounds, which is how much my saddle here weighs. And this is my pony saddle, which is even lighter. I could toss this around like nothing else. And don't worry, Jasper throws the saddle all the time. I would not throw a saddle around that cost me a crap load of money. I actually got that saddle for free because he ripped my other saddle. This saddle will someday be broken too, don't worry. And it won't be because of me. That's light. That's very light also. Now, a lot of people think that saddles are made for people. You got the stirrups here, help you stay on and all that other stuff. But honestly, if saddles were made for people, they'd have heated seats, they'd have backrests, they'd have cup holders. Because if you think that side's complicated, let me show you the underneath of a saddle. A lot more science goes into the saddle for the horse that's going to fall, rather than the rider. See that? Now, if the seat side was as cushy as this, yeah, it'd be made for a person, wouldn't it? But it's not. The horse has the more comfortable side, believe it or not. Oh my God, it's balancing. Oh, I'm shaking. It's freezing out here. Now, a lot of people don't really think about this, but when you're riding bareback, you have your seat bones, which is pretty much like two pebbles. And they have to move out of the way of the spine. When you ride, if you're a good rider, a good balanced rider, they will move out of the way. Oh my God, I'm shaking so bad. They'll move out of the way and allow you to sit better on the horse, more balanced, and absorb the movement of the horse. Well, when you're sitting on the horse bareback, your tailbone. Let me set the saddle down a second. It's gonna fall. I'm gonna set it down over here. Your tailbone. So this is the spine. It's poking into the spine sometimes, or your crotch bone. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. I'm just gonna call it the crotch bone. Is sitting right on the spine, and those two pebbles are sitting right off to the side. Your horse has about, depending on how big your butt is, mine's quite small, has about this much area of your butt on his back, and that's, I am 97 pounds, that is 97 pounds on this small basketball-sized area on his back. You take a saddle and put it on his back. It takes all that weight and distributes it all through here in a very large area. And this part right here is empty to clear the spine. So there's nothing sitting on the spine, just right next to the horse. And it's all distributed very nicely if the saddle fits your horse well. The saddle, along with his bareback pad, or not bareback pad, his pad that I do not have at the moment. He has a very expensive pad. It's got gel. There's nothing in the middle. A little tiny bit of gel in the middle, but then he's got a gel on his saddle pad that also aids in cushioning and distributing the weight on his back because he's a very picky horse. So I've got to keep him comfortable if I want to ride him. Now this saddle, this is just a fabric saddle, my old dressage saddle. This saddle, it has a very thin strip. I'm not even sure the saddle would fit any horse all that well. It would have to be a horse with like no top line at all. This saddle pinched my horse when I had it. It pinched and it was sitting on his spine. It pinched his shoulders and it kept him from moving his shoulders as well as he could and moving under the saddle as well as he could. But it's still, you can see, still has the pads there to distribute weight, but that doesn't do very well for you if that weight is sitting on his spine and pinching him. That made him cranky when any riders bigger than me got on him. He did not appreciate that very much. Now, I don't weigh very much, so it didn't really bother him. But once again, I don't see a heated seat there. And since that's a dressage saddle, it has a little more of a backrest, but not much. Dressage saddles are made to make you sit deeper in the saddle and absorb the horse's movement, blah, blah, blah. You know, so still the stirrups, all that other stuff. But just, you think about that. A lot of people just don't think about that. And I'm not telling you don't ride bareback. Some horses like to be ridden bareback. Some horses, like my horse, does not. My horse tries to buck me off. Pardon this. I'm shivering, so I'm not able to lift the saddle as well as I would when I first came out here. This is actually my saddle cover, but it's pretty thick fleece. I actually tied some twine to the handles and stuff, and I used it as a bareback pad one time, and he still tried to buck me off. He just does not like being ridden bareback. He's, like I said, extremely picky. But if you're going to ride bareback, just be open and read your horse. If his ears are back, or his back is hollow, or he's swishing his tail a lot, those are some of the more obvious signs that your horse is uncomfortable. And, a lot of people think that, if a horse doesn't like something, it's just going to buck me off. No, the nice thing about horses, they're such big animals, but they will put up with so much crap before they do anything about it. And a lot of people take advantage of that. If you see your horse giving you signs like that, it's likely he's not comfortable, and just a simple thing like this could fix that. In my horse's case, it didn't. It could fix that and, save your horse and you a little bit of grief. You don't have to not ride bareback. You can still ride bareback, just be aware of what your horse is telling you. My pony, I've got my little pony Jasper. I can bounce on him like you wouldn't believe and ride him around bareback, and he would not care less. Whereas my big horse, every little thing I do just ticks him off when I ride him bareback. I even know how to post bareback, and that horse still does not like it when I ride him bareback. His back, believe it or not, went out last winter because I was riding him bareback. he hollowed his back so much to get away from my seat bones, which were hurting him. And he was trying to work with his back hollowed, and it made his back go out. The second I stopped riding him bareback and did a little bit of stretching exercises with his back, and it popped his back in place, he was fine. But yeah. So I want to make a different video replacing this one eventually, but for now, this is, I'm just telling you, a lot of science goes into saddles. There's a reason for Western saddles, they make pads like 2 inches thick and super cushy, sciencey, gel, absorbent stuff. There's a reason that those pads are much thicker, because with a Western saddle, you don't have that gap there. You don't have that gap, but they still have a fleece lining under the saddle, and then they have very thick pads to protect the horse from the saddle. Plus, Western saddles can be a great deal heavier than English saddles. So, just think about that and be aware of what your horse is telling you, and don't be afraid to try something else. I know some people out there are stubborn, and a lot of people have ridden bareback their whole lives. They're like, I've done it my whole life, so I ain't doing anything different. Well, you're stupid, just so you know. Try something different. And if you're going for balance, honestly, just taking your stirrups off, or if you don't want to take your stirrups off, if you're trying to gain better balance by riding bareback, that's not the way to do it, right? Riding bareback is a piece of cake compared to flipping your stirrups up or taking them off altogether. I like flipping them over because then I can use them if I need them instead of not having them there the whole lesson. But flipping them over the horse's neck, like so, that is a heck of a lot harder to sit than bareback is. And you still have that saddle protecting your horse from your butt if you decide to bounce all over the place. So when you're at a show or something, let's say you're at a jumping show or a barrel show, and you lose your stirrup, or you lose both stirrups. Some people, the second they lose their stirrups, boop, they hit the dust. Just instantly, there's, totally all hope is lost when they lose their stirrups. If you practice without stirrups, you can lose that stirrup and just keep on going, and everybody's like, oh my God. And you're like, oh yeah, I am the boss here. So, yeah, long video of just me talking in my garage and freezing. But think about just trying this first. And if, for those of you who have horses that do not like to ride bareback, there's some ideas for you. Try a pad, try no stirrups in the saddle. And if you do want to ride bareback but you're worried about hurting your horse, stick to small activities. If you want to, let's say, just brush up on your leg cues, or brush up on neck reining, or whatever you want to do, or go for a small, slow trail ride, just do that. Just walk around. You don't got to go jumping 3 feet bareback or 6 feet bareback or whatever you do. If you don't want to hurt your horse, there's other things. Believe me, there's other ways, and I'm sure there's more ways than just that. They make special pads nowadays, and I'm sure you can find something and use your imagination and whip something up like that. Just throw a girth on there. So, and speaking of girth, there's the common thought that girths are an uncomfortable thing for horses. Girths are there to protect horses and hold your saddle on. Oh no, don't go blurry, camera. Oh well, it'll just have to be blurry. Girths, as long as you're not pinching your horse with the girth or tightening it way too tight, it's not uncomfortable for a horse. Or if you have, make sure you clean your girths regularly so there's no sweat or dirt on them. And make sure you got a nice girth, not one that's like those wool girths with the strings. Those aren't very good girths. And they collect a lot of hay and stuff on them, and burrs. They can collect burrs and poke your horse. And it's like wearing a belt. Belts aren't uncomfortable. Belts are there to keep your pants up. Girths are there to keep horses' saddles on them. So, the only reason horses are girthy is because they, A, associate the saddle and girth with riding, which they do not like for one reason or another. If you're doing it right, your horse should enjoy being out riding with you. Or someone has pinched the horse in the past, or people let their horse get girth sores from. If your horse is getting girth sores, there's something wrong there. You need to change something. So, there's no reason your horse shouldn't want to wear a girth. If, for some odd reason, because every horse is different, and, there may be a horse out there somewhere that generally does not like the girth, just doesn't like it. Then I'm sorry, but I guess just ride bareback, as long as he likes it. If he doesn't like to be ridden bareback, and doesn't like the girth, and doesn't like the saddle, and doesn't like anything, then you have got yourself a pasture pet. So, yeah, there's my little, not really a rant video. I just wanted to inform people that, give them the facts of bareback, and maybe put some ideas in your head that you hadn't thought about before. So, I will replace this video with a somewhat more entertaining video at some point with pictures and fun facts and all that other thing. But yeah, there's your 17-minute video of me talking in my garage. Yay. Isn't my saddle pretty though? I want to get this removed and put my own name on it, or my horse's name or something. But yeah, that's my saddle. This is my pony saddle. I call this my, it's not in the greatest shape ever. I don't spend a lot of money on my pony's stuff because he tends to destroy things more often than not. Excuse me, I'm very sorry for that. Yeah, these are for putting his breast collar on. Yep, don't you just love that? Twine is such an amazing thing. Twine is just so useful. You can use it for all kinds of things. Today I had to put my horse's blanket on, and I forgot that we left my horse's blanket's leg straps at home, so I used twine. Yep, twine is amazing. So yeah, there you go. I had to make this video 18 minutes. Sorry. Yay. My horsey's cool too. Good horsey. This is the best horse you can own right here. Doesn't buck you off most of the time. Doesn't run away. You don't have to catch it. You don't have to feed it. Good horse. You can always put a saddle on it. Alright, I'm going to stop talking now. Goodbye, and thank you for watching this ultra boring video that I will replace eventually, I promise. Hold me to it. Okay.